last with Chris Golo and Ellison and Barbara back up. Just integrating these new guys into the lineup at the end of the season. How tough is that right now?
Well, obviously, one, you're missing some good players. That's just the reality. We'd love to, have a full lineup, but that doesn't happen all the time. And all those guys have not Turner hasn't played for us. So that'll be a little bit different. The other guys have played for us even recently. So, I think in terms of integration, they'll do a fine job. And Turner's a smart player and plays hard. So I think he'll do a good job. And you'd like to have as few guys that are new as possible, just because it hurts sometimes the cohesiveness. But this is the situation we're in, and we're going to dress a group that's good enough to go win. We got to go win the hockey game.
And just looking at what Marner and Matthews have been able to do this year, can you lend some perspective to that from your viewpoint?
Well, they've both been, excellent elite players, really their whole career, and that's without a doubt. It feels like both have really brought it to a whole nother level. Certainly. With Auston, there's been nights where he's just been an absolute beast, and with the package that he has, with the size and the skill and the skating and the shooting, when he's in that mode, he's really, really, really hard to contain, even for the very, very best players in the world on the other team. That's what a guy like he can do, and he's just got that elite NHL package. And Marner's, I've always had tons of respect for Marner's game. I think he's a good two-way player. I think for a guy who produces as much offense, he's accountable on the other side. That's why he kills penalties. So he's, to me, they've both been guys that have been, real special in the league, and they're just bringing it to another level. What song is that? Yeah. Is that Rat? Is that Rat? Huh? Round and Round? Oh, it's Pearl Jam? Okay, just making sure.
How do you feel Moritz has handled it when he takes to Auston? You mentioned it's a tough matchup for anyone. It's a young guy coming in. He's seen him a lot. How do you feel he's handled that?
He's handled it very well. He's been up against the other team's best all season long. It's actually pretty remarkable the season he's had, given the fact that he's had to go up against the other team's best on a nightly basis, and so you're seeing the stars of the league most nights, and 2 games ago, it was Crosby, it was Barkov before that, it was Kucherov before that. Tonight, it's Matthews. It's just the reality of it, and I think he's done a really good job. He's a really good all situations defenseman that I think is going to continue to get better and better, because he cares a lot, and he's certainly got stuff to improve on. But really, when you look at his game, he's out there against the other team's best. He's out there in offensive situations, PP, PK, 5 and 6, 6 on 5. He's done a really good job.
What were your expectations of him compared to, coming into the season compared to where he is now? How I'm assuming he's exceeded them, but how much has he exceeded them by?
He's exceeded them, but I had pretty high expectations, to be real honest. I got a chance to see him play a long time ago before we drafted him at the World Championships as a draft eligible player, which not many guys are. And I thought he did very well in that. Then he comes over and has an excellent year as a first-year player in the American League, which I know how hard that is as a defenseman, especially. He goes to Sweden as the defenseman of the year, and I got to see him play over there. So, I think our management team did a really good job of kind of bringing him up slowly, not rushing him into situations. And because of that, I think he's been pretty, I don't want to say ready-made, because there's a lot of things that all our guys got to get better at. But I think he was very ready to step in and be a good impact player, and he's done that.
Was there a moment early in the season or whatever, maybe you knew it before, that you said, okay, he's going to be fine against the elite competition, that you could go to him in those situations?
I think, like any player, you're in confidence when you get those opportunities, and over the course of the year, I don't know if there's one moment, but I would say it's generally a whole bunch of little moments added together. It's a whole bunch of steps in the right direction added together, and you just see him be able to go out against the other team's best and do a good job, and so I just think it was a collection. I think every time you play, you get a chance to kind of earn trust. You get a chance to prove what you are as a player, and nobody takes all steps forwards, but he's taken a lot of steps forward in the right direction.
Go to Susan for a few questions, Stacy.
Yep, we'll go to Ted Conklin.
Hey, Jeff, we always talk about the prospects playing their first game in the NHL and all that, but for a guy like Turner, he's played 1 game in the NHL. It's got to be a pretty good feeling to give this guy an opportunity to play in the NHL again.
Well, and I'd say, Ted, Turner's a heart and soul player. He's done an excellent job down in Grand Rapids over the last number of years. He's really earned this opportunity with his play down there. And that's something that's real important within our organization, is that guys understand that you can earn these types of opportunities, and he's done that. So I think it's great that he's getting a chance here tonight. I think he's got a chance to help us. And you need guys who can win pucks. You need guys that are reliable. You need guys that are hard at the net. He's kind of a jack of all trades and does a good job with it. So, I'm excited to have him in our lineup, and hopefully he does a real good job.
So why did these guys fit better this week than, say, a Bergeron? I mean, was it just better, for your lineup somehow, or what?
No, it really isn't. That's not really driving the decision. I've said this before with Bergeron. Obviously Bergeron's had a good year down there. At the end of the day, the decision on Jonathan Bergeron is a decision made on what's best for his individual development, and obviously that's a decision that Steve Yzerman makes, and no different than what I just talked about with Moritz Seider. We were in a real similar position a number of years ago where Moritz could have came up right around this same time, and the decision was made to just kind of leave him back down in the American League and let him continue to finish the year out and do that. And ultimately it looks like that was a good decision. And I think it would be a similar case here with Bergeron, so that those are decisions just made solely on the what's best for his long-term development.
Sounds good. Thanks for this, Jeff.
Yep.
Max Boltman.
Hey, Jeff, one more on Moritz. I'm just curious, what differences do you see in his game today from the start of the season? I know early in the year there was a lot of kind of like risk decision making that kind of stood out. Where are the biggest differences?
Probably that, Max. I think he's gotten better at knowing when to try to make a play and when to live another day. And make a play might be jumping in the rush at the right time. Make a play might be beating a guy when he's got him on the ropes. When to live another day is coming out of our end, just making a tape-to-tape pass to the winger that's open instead of trying to toe drag and beat somebody. All those types of things. Knowing when to jump in the rush. I think he's gotten better in those areas, and I think he needs to continue to improve in those areas, and he knows that. I think. There was a moment in the Jersey game where there's a lot of moments where he did tons of really good stuff, and then there's the odd moment where at times you still want to try to do too much, and sometimes that comes out of wanting to win so bad that you're trying to do everything yourself, and that's the reality. That's not how you're successful in the NHL, especially as a defenseman. So I just think it's that the management of his game has improved a lot and continues. The other thing that I think that he's really learned over time is how to leverage his body and to be able to be real physical. Early in the year, he didn't have that same physical impact that he had a year ago in Sweden and that he's had since then. I mean, I was watching a roll of Bally's hits that Seider's had, and there's a ton of impactful ones. I just think he's learned how to kind of leverage his body at the right times.
A lot of those hits, I guess, haven't even necessarily been initiated by him. I'm curious about what that does, whether it's for him or for the team psychologically, when guys may want to finish a check on him and it doesn't go the way they think.
Yeah, well, I think, a lot of guys, he's a young player. And so at times young players become a little bit of targets and you're hoping to potentially intimidate them. And I think I would hope or would guess throughout the league that people would understand you're not intimidating Moritz Seider. Like, you can go try to hit him hard, and every once in a while you might get the best of him. Most of the time he's getting the best of you, and he's not going to back down either way. He's got a great reverse hit in him. And I've coached a couple of defensemen that have that. And it's a really, really strong quality because it backs off the forecheckers a little bit.
Thank you.
Yep.
Larry Lage.
Back to Auston Matthews. How have you seen him improve in his career? I mean, he's been good from the start and has lived up to high expectations, and yet he seems like he gets better each year. How have you seen him maybe go to another level this year or throughout his career?
I think I would just say, first of all, he's been an extremely talented player his whole career. And I think when you're playing center, it's a little bit like when you're a young defenseman. Those are hard positions to be great 200-foot players and know how to produce offense while still being really good in your own end. The guys that end up winning are the guys that end up learning that. And I think he's done a really good job over time of getting better and better on the defensive side of the puck, of getting better and better at making sure that he's checking well. And with that, they've won a bunch of games, and so I think that to me is probably the biggest area. And there's also just moments where I don't know if it's through added strength, through added confidence, but he just has been able to really take over games where he feels, or you feel like he brings it to a whole nother level.
All right, that's all for Coach Blashill today. We'll be back shortly with Moritz Sider.